What's up, guys? How's everybody feeling? Today we are learning how to do Pincha Mayurasana. So here are 5 preparatory poses and awareness, like actions that can help prepare you to be successful at Pincha Mayurasana Vrschikasana, which is the scorpion. So the first thing that's super important is opening up and lengthening the spine, because when you're upside down, there is gravity that's pulling your entire lower body down toward your head and the top of your cervix and thorax. So in order to help to support that, Shalabhasana is a great starting position to bring the awareness into lengthening and firing up the muscles that support the spine. So this is, to start, you can lay down on your mat, just on a prose Shavasana or Adho Mukha Shavasana, and with their palms facing down. So what the palms facing down does is that it allows the weight of the palms to activate the arms and the shoulders, and it really allows the chest and the upper body to lift the upper body off of the mat. So one thing that's really important while we're doing this is to really focus on pushing, lengthening the energy through our spine forward and up and around, creating this beautiful kind of extension through the spinal column. So really important to engage the glutes, keep the legs tight together, and use the energy from sucking all of that tightness in the lower body to allow the upper body to rise and lift off the mat. So let's begin. So come down to the mat, bring your stomach and chest down onto the mat, and bring the palms of your hands down onto the mat on either side of the body, like this. So bring the legs together, squeeze the legs together super tight, point the toes, and on the first inhale, press through the tops of the hands into the mat, and slowly, while the legs are together, lift the legs off of the mat, and also lift the chest at the same time. So you're really grounding through your hips and allowing that groundedness through the mat to allow your chest and your legs to come off of the mat. Now you can keep the head lifted, looking ahead of you or slowly above you, whatever feels comfortable for your spine. A lot of times the drishti, the gaze, changes as your spine warms up. So this is a great starting position just to bring a little bit of attention into a very gentle back bend. So keep this, engage the legs together, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the legs together, point the toes, squeeze the toes together, and really keep this length and lift in the spine, and you can release. So just release down to the mat, bring your head down to the mat, take a few breaths here, and feel kind of the warmth coming into your spine by the muscles that are surrounding and supporting your spinal column. So on the next inhale, we're going to do it again. So exhale completely, and on the next inhale, we're going to rise up again, pressing through the tops of the hands and allowing the legs to be zipped together super tight, allowing the legs to come off to the mat. You can point the toes, allow the chest to come off of the mat, and slowly you can move the drishti from looking down until in front of you, and then slowly up, really bringing curvature into the upper spine where the cervix is. So hold this through the breath, really feel the back engaging and the back body engaging to really support the spinal column as it changes position. So you can come down on the next exhale, slowly, one vertebrae at a time, lowering down to the mat, and just rest here. So this is Shalabhasana. While you're resting, there are many variations. You can start here, you can come here, you can come here, and you can lift further. But the most important part is that your legs are really tight together, and the tops of your hands and your hips are grounding into the mat, which allows the spine to be lifted up and the toes to be lifted up off the mat. So you can come back into Balasana if you'd like. But the second thing that's really important in Pincha Mayurasana Vrschikasana are the hand positions on the mat. So the next thing we can work on is the hand position. So for this variation of Pincha, our hands are going to be parallel, and our elbows will be just about shoulder width apart. So it should be pretty much a 90-degree angle when you're upside down like this. So one thing that people do is that they bring their hand like this to find the position. But the other thing is if you just stick your hands out straight and then you bend your elbows, that's shoulder and that's comfortable for you. So this is how I like to come into it. So you can come into like a balasana and just stick the arms out naturally straight in front of the shoulders and bring the elbows down by rotating the elbows up. And this is pretty much your starting position. So this is going to be your foundation for Pincha Mayurasana, Vrschikasana, or with straight legs, either way. And this first position just allows our awareness to come into the foundation that supports the pose. So for this, we're just going to come into kind of this like balasana with the Pincha hands. So come into balasana and stick your hands straight out in front of your shoulders. So you're creating a straight line. So your arms are parallel to the mat. Bring the elbows down by rotating the elbows up, allowing the forearm to be completely on the mat with the palm facing down. And you want to keep all 10 fingers strong on the mat, as well as the palm of the hand and the entire forearm. So this is your foundation, and it's really important that we find this now, because while we're upside down, it's going to literally support most of our body amidst the rest of our body coming into alignment. So one great way to find this comfortability is once you have this position, lift the hips up as if you're doing a very short Adho Mukha Svanasana, and lift the hips up and keep the legs as straight as possible, kind of tippy-toeing the toes toward the hands so that your hips are as aligned above your shoulders as possible. So in this motion, while you're doing this, you can start to feel the weight shift, to feel the support of the forearms and what it feels like to have the hands and forearms supporting the entire upper body. So once your hips are above your shoulders, just hold there. And really feel your fingertips, the palms of your hands and your forearms grounding down into the mat. So you can release by slowly bending the knees and bringing the heels down, or bringing the butt, the glutes down to the heels, and just taking a rest into balasana here. You can take your elbows off the mat and maybe shake your arms out a little bit. Just release your shoulders. Also, really important to keep your shoulders depressed and away from the ears, just to create strength and to give your shoulders space to be able to rotate properly around the socket here. What this is going to do when you press away from your shoulders is it's just going to protect them, and it's going to give them more mobility. So whenever you're upside down, eventually you'll be able to come into a hollow back, or even coming all the way down into like a Shavasana or something else. So let's do it one more time. So again, start in balasana, hands straight out, and as your elbows rotate up, your forearms will come down to the mat to create a foundation. Slowly make sure your feet are together, bring your hips up, straighten your legs, and allow your tippy toes to move slowly toward your elbows so that your hips are aligned above your shoulders. Take a few breaths here and really start to get comfortable with how it feels to have your weight shifted above your forearms. So on the next exhale, you can lower your knees down to the mat, bring your glutes down to your heels, and just take a nice little rest here. If you want to shake your arms out a little bit, you can, or come into a balasana, whichever is better. So with this, it's really flexible. The foundation of this pose is starting with the base to understand the placement of the arms. The second part of this pose is to allow the weight to start here and then slowly come to where we're almost doing the stand here. It's almost to the point where we're able to tuck and just slowly rise up from there. So what this does is it not only strengthens the arms, but also creates a connection with the mind, with the brain, to know what the foundation looks and feels like whenever you're going to be in Pincha Mayurasana, Vrschikasana, or regular Pincha Mayurasana. So the third thing that is super important that can help prep your body and your mind for doing Pincha Mayurasana safely and effectively is a back bend that activates the hamstrings, glutes, calves, and almost the entire back body. So there are two options, but today we will do Urdhva Dhanurasana. Another option is Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. But either one will help you, and it's going to depend on how mobile your back is and your spine is. If you're very flexible, you can probably just go into Urdhva Dhanurasana. If you're not that flexible, Setu Bandha Sarvangasana is better for you. Because Setu Bandha Sarvangasana will still activate your glutes and your hamstrings and your back body, but it is a slower transition into a spine opening and a back bend than Urdhva Dhanurasana. So to begin, come into a seated position with your butt on the mat and your feet in front of you. You can actually lie back on the mat, but keep your feet on the mat. Keep your feet grounded on the mat. So bring the feet close to the butt and take each hand around the ankles. Now slowly lift the glutes up off of the mat, and while your hips are lifting off of the mat, engage the glutes, engage the hamstrings, and engage the calves. Now you're going to ground your feet down through the mat as you lift your hips higher by engaging the glutes and holding the glutes and the legs high with the hamstrings. So you should really feel a strong awareness and a strong kind of like almost a burning or heating sensation in your glutes, your hamstrings, and your calves, and the bottoms of, well, you'll feel the energy from the bottoms of your feet. So use this bandha, use this energy to lift your hips higher. Stay in your breath, and then the next exhale, lower down. So this is Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, and this is super important just to activate the hamstrings and the glutes. So if we were to do this again, we could stay there, or we could go into Urdhva Dhanurasana, which is the next step. So if this is simple, stay here. If it's not simple, let's go to Urdhva Dhanurasana. So to get into Urdhva Dhanurasana, you're going to just come down into the same starting position where your feet are on the mat and you're lying on your back. For this, you're actually going to put your hands on either side of your shoulders, but your fingers facing toward your body. So we'll ground through our hands the same way we grounded through our feet, and bring the hips and the legs up using the same motion as we did before. So the same thing, we're going to squeeze the hamstrings, or engage the hamstrings and engage the glutes to lift the hips up and away from the mat. Using the same motion, we're going to push through the hands, root through the hands, and engage the biceps to extend the elbows and to push our upper body up off of the mat, coming up into a half bow, an upside down bow position. So the same thing here, you're going to engage your hamstrings, engage your glutes, and really push through your hands to create strength with your back body to lift your hips higher. And the main point here is lifting the hips by engaging the glutes and the hamstrings. And you're going to feel them coming awake as you lift your hips higher and higher. So on the next exhale, you can lower down to the mat and take a rest here. So here are the two options. So one option is here, where you're lifting and you're really feeling the glutes and the hamstrings lifting your body up. And the other option is here. And you can see here that you're going to have two separate curvatures of the spine. But both are important because both sides are still activating the glutes and the hamstrings, and that's the most important part of this prep pose. So let's just take a break, so you can just slowly find your way to the front of the mat and just release down into an Uttanasana, come into an Ardha Uttanasana. And just take a breather here. So the next thing we can work on is through Anjaneyasana. So you can step your right foot back and lower your right knee to the ground. So the next part here, stay in this. So the next part here that's important is lengthening the side body and allowing the thoracic spine to open and lift and extend. Because while we're upside down, it's really creating strength and length in our main body to allow our body to rise and called? Moon. For our spine to extend and to extend forward. So in this position, so there are many variations of Anjaneyasana, but we can do a few which all target different areas of the core and still allow us to learn more about how we can explore a pose like Anjaneyasana or any of the poses through just the way that we rotate and focus our energy. So let's come to Anjaneyasana. You can have your foot down or tucked, it doesn't matter, whatever's more comfortable for you. So the first one is going to be focusing on the side body. So to do this, let's just reach one of our arms. Let's start with our left arm. We're going to reach our left arm up all the way as high as possible and then over above our head, looking up at the hand as we reach over to the right. You can bring your right hand down to the mat or even to your left front thigh. And what this is going to do is really create length and extension through the left side body and really open up that and also feel our body as we create space and hold that to create strength as we extend the side body. So let's exhale, coming back down to center. And now the same thing. Maybe let's bring both of our arms up and create a length up, straight up with both side bodies engaged. Now bring the left hand down to the mat and this time extend the right hand up and around and over. Bring the left hand down to the mat or to the right thigh, whatever's more comfortable. Same thing here, take a few breaths and bring the hands down. Now step your right foot up to meet your left foot. Come into Ardha Uttanasana. Let's take a deep breath in. Exhale down into Uttanasana. Now step your left foot back and your left knee down to the mat. We're going to do the same thing on this side. So we'll start with our right hand. Same thing, bring the right hand up and over. Let's take a few breaths here. And then bring the right hand down. Bring the left hand up and over, and let's take a few breaths here. Great. Now stay in this position. Now the second part of this that we can work on is to look at the thoracic spine. Really understand how to target nicely the thoracic spine and how it's useful whenever we're doing some kind of inversion or any kind of back bend. So let's look at this other variation of Anjaneyasana. So while we're here, instead of doing what we were doing last time, we're going to reach back and find our heel. You can look at it or you can just find it on your own. And we're going to open up this part of our chest. And you can bring your left hand up or you can leave it down to the side. But the point is to open up through the chest and to allow the twist of the side body to create space and extension in the upper body. So the most important thing here, you can engage the glutes, keep the legs squeezed together, and really lift and extend up and around through the thoracic spine. So hold this for a few breaths. And then come back to Anjaneyasana. You can bring the left foot forward to meet the right foot, and now switch and bring the right foot back. And let's go to the other side. So bring the left hand to meet the left foot, or the left hand to meet the right foot. And opening up the chest. Keep the hips as square as possible to the front of the mat, but open up the chest, lift and open as you open up the shoulders, create space between the shoulders, extend through the left hand onto the right heel. And really feeling that opening of your thoracic spine. Great. So let's come back down, and you can just come into a Virasana pose, just to take a rest here and a breather. So essentially, what this really does, it doesn't matter if you're doing a twist or if you're doing it a regular way, but what it really does is it opens up through the upper spine. As you're pressing the hips forward, your chest has to rotate and lift. It doesn't matter what you do with your hand, because your spine, you're still going to find extension. And one great way to really play with this is to move the upper arm around once you find a comfortable foundation to really feel where you are requiring more space and where your body naturally finds comfort. This is a great way that you can extend your practice and kind of expand your mobility as a body. Okay, great. So now we're warm and we're ready. So Pincha Mayurasana Vrschikasana is fun, but it's important that you remember these key elements. So the first element is that the spine is creating space by engaging the back body. So while gravity is holding your upper body above your hands, it's really important that you engage your upper back body, your entire back body, from your toes to, well, not your toes, but from your calves all the way through your hamstrings, glutes, and through your back and shoulders. Because what this is going to do is it's going to support your spine to keep space between the vertebrae while you're upside down. So the second thing is really important is creating the foundation that's going to support your body. So you're using every part of your body from your elbows all the way through your fingertips while you're upside down. And to do this, you create strong astabandha through your fingertips and your palms, and all the way through your forearm. You're utilizing this entire foundation, which is super powerful because you're essentially creating a square all the way from your fingertips to your elbows while you're upside down. The third thing that's super important is the back bend and the engagement of the hamstrings and glutes. So the hamstrings and glutes are really lifting your body up and allowing you to engage this back body bandha while you're upside down. So we also lifted the side body thoracic, the side body and the thoracic spine to create space. So to come into Pincha Mayurasana, we're just going to come here. We're going to start with our same foundation. So we're going to start with our dolphin pose that we started with before, and slowly just walk our feet up to our hands. Once we're here, we can either walk or just longer. Gotta hold it longer. Okay, well, we'll hold it longer next time, but let's just do it next time. Alright, we're gonna cut this. I gotta go, but do this on your own until you're better than me, and then we'll switch lives. Okay, love you.